Lejun Temple, Lejun Temple, it, not a temple, but a place name, is located in Longxi, the end of the Hexi Corridor, southwest of Jiaiguan, under Qilian Mountain. Although the old gentleman's temple is outside the gate, it is extraordinary. Jiayu Pass, the end of the Great Wall, the city is several zhang high, the momentum is magnificent, and the Yumen Pass is the same name as the Life and Death Pass. There are clouds. If you go out of Jiayu Pass, you will not have tears in your eyes. The desert is rolling in the sand, and if you want to live, you have to agree with God. Qilian Mountain, good pasture. The mountain is high and gloomy, the snow covers the top, a piece of grass under the mountain, galloping on the grassland, the children of the desert are uninhibited. The town is located 130 miles north of Lejun Temple, under Qilian Mountain, a pure town, and a distribution area for Orion, which is a must-pass place outside the Siwai and the Central Plains. Come back to town, come back and come again, go and come again, of course it's not for everyone. In the east of the town, looking at the Qilian Mountain, the high mountain is steep, tall, and majestic, towering into the sky, showing its stability, strong. In the early winter, the cold wind is pressing, the snow is flying, the mountain is silver white, like a dream, beautiful, beautiful and beautiful. It's heroic. On the spotted mountain, the silver dragon pours straight down, it is a waterfall of 10,000 zhang, galloping down, there are thousands of troops and horses, the sound of the throat, the shock soup is surging, only to hear it makes people feel comfortable, the pride is thousands of miles, the hardy is abnormal, and the comfort has been extreme. Chinfei waterfall is a deep water lake, called Mota. Mata. Locally, it means death. Mota Lake, unfathomable, cold and clear bones, plus the waterfall rushes down, so although the name is a lake, and the waves are very turbulent, compared to the water potential of the three gorges of Wang, it is more than that. Rather go to the Dragon King Palace, don't be in the Mota Lake. This is a local saying, which shows how deep the local residents' fear of Lake Mota is. The goose feathers of Mota Lake do not float, and they die when they fall into the water, and many people die as soon as they die, and the ghosts appear, and people can fight with the ghosts. But is there anyone who is not afraid of the dead? Yes. I saw the ghost land, southwest of the dead lake. The terrain is relatively flat, there is a very old small thatched hut, it seems that it has lived for many years. In front of the hut is a courtyard, surrounded by its own bamboo fence, perhaps in disrepair, some of the fence has collapsed, and some have been coiled with mountain vines and thatch, it's an old look. Small thatched hut, thatched roof, whitened by rain, old and corroded, there is a row of railings in front of the house, and the field window. In front of the door on the upper right, there is a plaque hanging to take a closer look, the font is crooked, there are 4 words written in total, the carving is very new, it must be a new thing. And these words, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is like crawling, like a mouse left by spinning on the table with its tail dipped in ink, strange and unimaginable. If you can have the courage to hang out this kind of turtle-crawling words, the person who hangs it out is not a madman, but must also be a bit of a self-absorbed madman. The early winter has arrived, the earth is sluggish, the withered yellow grass leaves reflect the residual snow, The sun is slanting in the west, and the colorful glow shines on the hut, which is more ancient, like the general residence of the gods, so come to the ghost to say. Suddenly, I'm back, old man. Open the door to meet me. I'm tired. There was a burst of pleasant children's cries from the path, and when I opened my eyes, I saw a little boy running towards the hut with his head held high, running and screaming and jumping, and his expression was very proud, and he carried a bag of not small things in his hand, and a bucket of large dry gourd wine gourd. He was about 14 or 5 years old, sturdy and tall, dressed in a light blue suit, with a white belt around his waist, flat black shoes, and a large patch on his left cuff, although his clothes were very old, but they were clean and white, solid, but not honest. His eyes were deep set, his nose was like a knife, he was straight and tall, and he had a bunch of hair tied obliquely on his head, and a small mouth that loved to laugh. Strange, really strange, innocent and a little evil. Eccentric, and full of elves. For him, only whoever sees him, will smile inwardly and have a sense of affection for him. Others are strange, and the name is even more blamed on Yang Xiaoxie. Before the person entered the door, he was already smiling, shouting and shouting, a bit of performance and teasing, and that kind of expression, just like a child who has won a grand prize, wants to go home and let his parents boast. He is very angry. Old man, what's the calendar, play treasure. Stay at home all day, and when I come back, you won't say hello. Just listen to his words, you know that he must be a difficult ruthless character, even his own parents are called old men. It can be seen how he is uncultivated, feet slightly kicked, a move golden dragon through the tower only to see him like a peng flying straight into the courtyard, clean and neat, graceful, has been extremely beautiful, slightly turned over, has fallen in the courtyard in all directions. Old man, if you don't come out of me, okay. He looked at the bag in his hand and smiled. I think I can only eat this bag of fragrant meat and wine. The corners of his mouth curled, he smiled mysteriously, and then opened the wine gourd, Gollum. Raised his head and took a big sip. Ha! Good wine, good wine. He wanted to pretend to see if the old man would be so greedy that he came out. But after drinking 3 or 4 sips, there was still no one. Fuck. It didn't work. Yang Xiaoxie looked at the tricks he usually used, but now he didn't use them, and he was in a little uncomfortable. The old man who dares to love is not here. Save me this bag of fragrant meat and wine, and soon he found a reason to be happy, and he no longer wondered. As soon as the door closed, he looked around, and found that the old man had not left, but had fallen asleep in bed. It turns out that the old man is asleep, and he will enjoy it. Inside the house, it is square, 2 beds, respectively on the left wall and the right wall. There is a 4-corner table in the center, 2 benches, in front of the window. Behind the table, there is a tea table with teapots and chopsticks, and the left window is a desk, piled up with a few old books and the 4 treasures of the study, and that's it. It's very rudimentary. Take it all. Yang Xiaoxie suddenly roared. The sound was like a thunderbolt, deafening. He wanted to scare the old man, to see if the old man would jump out of bed. He was disappointed, and the old man was still an old man. Grandma Blackskin, why doesn't it work today? He shook his head. He felt that today was different. the tricks that worked before were no longer good. He thought, "Old man, you want to play tricks on me, the grapes are ripe. It's still very early." Hee hee. Tiptoeing, step by step, like a thief, walked to the old man's bed. I saw that the old man was dressed in green clothes, full of silver frost, his face was full of wrinkles, and his facial features were distinct, and he had sideburns and chest. Presumably, when he was young, he must have been a handsome person, but now the old man's eyelids are pale and frightening, without a trace of blood, like a dead man, terrifying and abnormal. "What's the matter? The old man is sick." Seeing this, Xiaoxie also felt that something was wrong with the old man, so he hurriedly reached out to probe the old man's snort, and soon touched the old man's chest, and after a while, he said to himself, "Dead." There was no sadness in his tone, but he also felt a little proud. "Turn around and take a sip of wine, take a sip of your mouth, walk to the four-legged table, and put the fragrant meat and wine gourd in your hand. Put it on the table, grab a camphor wooden bench, and reflexively sit down in front of the old man's bed." Rubbing his nose, he smiled dumbly, staring at the old man's head and carefully seeing the toes. Turbulence. "Drink." Xiaoxie has jumped up and stretched out his right hand, bang. Twice, slapped the old man twice, his expression was excited, and he roared like a pig. He roared, "Dead old man! I didn't expect you to fall into my hands one day, and it would be okay if you died.